Hello, my name is Amanda, and welcome to Back to the Heart, a podcast for self discovery, healing, and embracing true freedom. And I invite you to join me as we embark on a transformative journey back to your heart, where we get to choose love over fear. Welcome to today's episode of Back to the Heart. I have my beautiful guest, Scarlett Stanhope, today, who is going to share parts of her journey with us. And we're going to dive into the thing that anyone and everyone is always concerned about: money. So, a really important topic that, regardless of where you are in your healing journey, money is always critical. We have to have money to take care of our personal, physical, emotional well-being. And I am super excited to have you on today. Welcome, Scarlett.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for this conversation, especially because exactly like you said, money bleeds into every area of our lives. And especially when we're on a healing journey or a personal growth journey, we can ignore the money and get sucked into just like the personal growth, the internal work, and just kind of set money aside and be like, oh, that'll work itself out in the future. But I really believe that healing your relationship with money gets to be part of your healing journey and is actually a really huge, valuable part of the healing journey that goes side by side with your own growth and personal development. So I'm really excited to dive into this today.
Yeah, it's awesome because one of the things that I've learned in my healing journey is anything and everything is a mirror and reflection of the other things. So if you are lacking in your relationship with yourself, with your physical health, then you're probably having some difficulty and some challenges with money. If you're having difficulties and challenges with your relationship, with your job, with your family, you're probably having them with money. Or if you're having them with money, you're probably having them with your relationship or with your body. Everything is a mirror. So let's dive in and tell your story, your healing journey, and how you came to the point to realize how important money is.
Yeah, so back in the day, like growing up, my whole entire life was really rooted around this idea of success. So I was always a type A, high achiever, perfectionist, straight A student type of person. And so even as a kid, I was like a 7 and 8 year old who had constant migraine headaches every single week just because of the stress and pressure of being good, doing it right. And this, in a lot of ways was good, right? I got the straight A's. I was a great student. I did everything supposedly right, but then this continued to bleed into my young adulthood. And so by the time I was 18, I was managing restaurants. I was getting a good paycheck. I had a fancy job title. I was getting my bachelor's degree in business management, accounting, and finance, and like had my 3.9 GPA. Even by the time I was 20, I had $30,000 in savings and zero student loans and zero credit card debt. And so, like, everything on paper was, I was very successful. I was doing everything right. But at the same time, there was this part of me that felt like I was waiting for life to start. I was wondering when do I finally arrive? When have I checked all the boxes, done all the things that I'm supposed to do? When finally I can start living the life that I want to live and really start enjoying life. And it caused me to hit a really hard rock bottom, just living this way, living basically as a zombie in my own life, like just going with the flow, doing what I thought I was supposed to be doing. Also, like neglecting my personal health, my personal well being, working really hard, being in some toxic relationships as well. Like my body was screaming at me that something was wrong, but I still didn't notice it. I still didn't realize, and I was blind to it. In fact, I was covered in head to toe eczema and still didn't even realize that there was something wrong, like just how uncomfortable it was for me to be in my own skin and be in my own life. I was depressed, I was suicidal, I would drive home at 2 a.m. from work every single weekend with the radio blasting, screaming over the radio, tears streaming down my face. And at the same time, I still didn't realize that there was anything wrong. I just thought that this is what life was. This is the way it's supposed to be. I'm doing everything right, and yet it doesn't feel like it's enough no matter what I do or how hard I work. And so eventually that like led me down a really dark spiral, and I did hit that rock bottom and one day woke up and realized, "Oh my gosh, I'm living right now. Life is happening right now, and I'm here sitting here waiting for life to start, and yet life is already happening and it's up to me to start living it, and I have to choose to live it now." And that's when I started to begin my personal growth journey, when I began to rediscover who I was, the kind of life I wanted to live. I started to peel away from these circumstances or environments and relationships that weren't in alignment with me, and started to discover, what kind of life do I want to live? What is important to me? And that's when I began to rebuild self-trust, self-love, self-confidence, all these things that I had been neglecting with my relationship with myself. And after a couple years into my own healing journey, I started my coaching business because that's just kind of what fell into my lap. That was the next step that happened on my path. And so since then, I have been taking this wisdom that I have been learning from my own personal growth journey and bringing it into the work that I do, which is the fact that you get to live your life. You get to create your best life now. You're in control, and money and success doesn't have to be something that holds you back from living that life, but instead gets to be something that empowers you to create that life.
That's awesome. I love that. It's like getting back to the heart. The purpose of this podcast is whenever you're able to build that self trust and that self love, everything else around you starts to work itself out. And tell us about how you were able to get to that space.
Yeah, well, it first started with recognizing that something was wrong. I think that was really the first step because that was not obvious to me. And I think often in life, w- this is why we have rock bottoms. Like things have to get really bad for you to wake up and realize that there's an opportunity to do something differently. Otherwise, it's easy to just stay in the kind of comfort zone of our current lives and our current realities, even if we don't enjoy it. Like, oh, this is normal. I'm comfortable here. And so for me, life had to get worse and worse and worse
Yeah.
enough for me to wake up and be like, oh, wait. I can do something differently. I don't have to live this way anymore. So, having that spark and that realization was the first step. And then really discovering who I was a huge part of that. I remember there was a period of time where I I was at home. I like opened up a window and I stuck my head out the window. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. This is so cool. Like, this is just the coolest thing ever. Like, this brings me so much joy. And it was something so simple and so small. And yet, I always remember that moment because it was like the first time since I was a child that I realized, like, oh my gosh, this is me doing something just because I enjoy it. And this is something that I want to do. And so, starting to discover moments like that and find in myself and in my body, like, what does enjoyment feel like for me? What does alignment feel like for me? And as part of this, it was also unwiring these patterns and these beliefs of should, who I think I should be, what I think I should be doing, what success is supposed to be, and starting to recognize what has been patterned beliefs versus really truly me.
Yeah, it's like I think for so many of us, myself and sounds like you too, it's like we've been given this supposed to or should list, and you checked all the boxes of the should list. Check, check, check. I went through the same thing. It was like, okay, I went to school, I got the degree, I got married, I was doing all the things, but something just still wasn't right. And it's like we've kind of been in this space of getting away from listening and trusting ourselves, getting away from those things that just bring us joy, that there's no like the purpose of just for fun like that, it seems like when you're checking all the boxes, there's no time or energy left for just for fun, right? Those little
Hmm.
things that bring us joy or creativity, it's like, no, this is what I have to do, quote unquote. I should be doing, I need to do. But it's like whenever we are able to step back from that and do those little things. Just stick your head out of the window. Like, how simple is that? Getting outside, playing on the swings, something just childlike that we miss doing because we've been in this rat race of checking off all the boxes and then getting to that space and being like, well, I've checked all the boxes. Why do I still feel like this? Why do I still not want to wake up every day? My goal is to get the information out there to people so that they can start recognizing those feelings inside and start making those changes before they're at a point of attempting suicide or requiring medication because you're depressed or some sort of physical ailment comes up. I went through a process with my physical health with endometriosis, and I was just feeding it with toxicity, toxic energy, all of the outside chemicals that were going into my body with the hormones and the food and everything out there that was just adding fuel to that fire. Had I started listening to my body, I knew the same way with the eczema, like your body's telling you something's not right, but we just keep like masking it. Let's put on something to relieve this symptom, but not getting to the root of like your body saying, do something different.
Exactly. And I know for me too, there was this idea, and I think this is just the common societal belief that, okay, when I check all these boxes, then I'll finally be happy. When I have enough money, then I'll be able to get to enjoy my life. When I've had my successful long career, then I can retire and finally do the things that I want to do. And this, again, is why I love working with money because I find that money is one of the biggest things that ties into this. Like, money typically is the should, it's the success, it's the driving factor that pushes us to live unfulfilling lives that we don't enjoy. And often it can feel like money is the thing that's holding us back from living lives that we want to live starting right now.
If something in this conversation is lighting something up in you, if you are feeling that inner nudge like, yes, I am ready, then this is your moment. This is your invitation to step into your next level, to finally move forward, to feel clear, grounded, and aligned with who you truly are. Because even if you've done the therapy, you've been to the workshops, you are in the midst of your healing, but you still feel stuck, that is okay. You're not doing it the wrong way. You're just living a story that your nervous system still believes. You can rewrite it, and you don't have to do it alone. Book a free 30-minute intro call, and let's talk about what is possible. Email me at backtotheheart@gmail.com or click the link in the show notes. It's time to come back to the heart and manifest your quantum leap.
So if somebody out there is listening and they feel like they're on this struggle bus of constantly just trying to find enough money to survive, where would you say somebody gets started if they're at that point?
Yeah, and this is really important because we can get sucked into this survival mode relationship with money and think that, okay, if I just keep working hard, if I keep putting in more hours, if I keep pushing, then eventually more money will flow and then I'll finally release this financial stress and this financial pressure and can finally take a breath of fresh air and enjoy this life. But this really isn't the case. I have found time and time again with my clients, it's less about the amount of money that you have, and it's more about your relationship with money. Because I've worked with clients who have very little money, they're just scraping by, they feel like they're living paycheck to paycheck, they feel stressed, they feel like they don't have enough. I've also worked with clients who have good, decent, solid 9 to 5 jobs, getting paid consistently, and they still feel like they're living paycheck to paycheck, barely getting by, and they don't have enough. Because whatever your current relationship with money is, the stress, the fear, the lack, the scarcity, and you just add more money to that relationship, you're just continuing to expand the same relationship. It's like if you're dating somebody and you find that you're in this toxic relationship with this person, and then you leave them, but you haven't done any healing work on your own for yourself, and then the next guy that you date, it's like dating the same guy again. Even though it's a new person, you're still in the same toxic relationship and you're still attracting the same toxic relationship no matter how many guys you date or how many times you try to leave. That's the same with your money. Like, unless you heal your relationship with money now and can step into a place of abundance with your money now, you're not ever going to feel that way no matter how much money you have.
For sure. I was just on a call with Mark England, which is where Scarlett and I met. All these amazing people I keep meeting that are from the Enlifted community who are word wizards themselves and have been able to dig into those stories and find out where these money blocks are, where these money beliefs are. Mark went through this exercise a couple weeks ago where it was writing a letter to money, dear money, and it was incredibly powerful. We had one girl who shared her story, and it turns out her relationship with money was directly correlated with the relationship with her father. She wrote out her letter and she was like in tears, and she was like, it kinda sounds like, and Mark's like, take out kinda. And it's like taking off the soft talk. And it was a letter to her father and the relationship that she was having with money. Like you said, it's like she would have just enough. She had an issue come up, she had a car accident and she had all these bills, and then something came along and just enough to pay for what she needed. And it was just this constant, just barely getting to that next step. So, how would you walk us through that of somebody kind of getting to what these roots of these core money blockages and beliefs are?
Yeah, and this is so important. And again, another reason why I love to work with money is because your money is a perfect reflection of yourself and your relationship with yourself. Like anything that you got going on under the surface, the stories, the beliefs, the patterns, whoever you are deep down, your money is reflecting that to you. You said it beautifully earlier, like everything's a reflection of something else. And this is why being in relationship with other people is really valuable for personal growth, whether it's friendship, family, romantic relationships, or just like being in a community space. All of those people are mirroring to you what's going on within you, the things that need to be healed, the stories that you have, the beliefs that you have, the things that trigger you, right? Other people are perfect mirrors. But with other people, they're bringing their own stuff to the table and projecting it on you, and you're bringing your stuff to the table and projecting it on them. But money is a perfect mirror of your relationship with yourself because it's clean. Money isn't projecting anything onto you, it's neutral. And so, whatever your relationship with money is a perfect reflection of your relationship with yourself. And it's based on our beliefs of worthiness, deservingness. Is there enough to go around? Am I enough? These beliefs of like either I get to have money but hate my life, or I can be broke but happy, right? These conditional patternings that we learned from childhood and that we have carried with us through our lives. So, first recognizing that yes, you have a relationship with money, whatever your current money situation is, the pattern that you've been living in is your relationship with money. And that relationship with money is one of your biggest opportunities for personal growth and deep healing because it's a reflection of you.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like when you can begin to heal that relationship with yourself and with money, then it allows you to heal those other pieces of your life too. How many people have been in relationships that money has been an issue in the relationship? It's one of those things that, whether that's with family or friends or with yourself, it bleeds into all those other areas. So when you can get back and see, okay, this is actually my own thing. Oftentimes you have these relationships that you can learn from, like we said, but you may have one person who in the relationship who grew up, quote unquote, with nothing and this constant never having enough. Or maybe there's another one who was spending all the time, and money was flowing. So then you get these two people together. One has one perspective and relationship with money, and another has a completely different. And it makes this chaos more magnified because you're just going with what you know, the other person's going with what they know. I've been digging into this myself and had a conversation with my mother recently and realized that almost every single piece of our conversation, she connected back to money. When you start getting into that space of lack of it's this or that, or I can't do this without that, and I'm going to run out of money, what you focus on, that's what you get. Our words are so incredibly powerful.
Yeah, so much of this is so spot on and accurate because your money really does bleed into every area of your life. Everybody knows how money can impact relationships and your ability to have a career that you enjoy versus stay in a career that you hate. Your ability to travel, your ability to take time off, to spend time with your family, to be able to do the things you want to do, to say yes to the things you need and want. Like money ties into all of that, and honestly, I believe this is one of the deepest layers of personal growth because there are so many people who have been on this healing and personal growth journey, and you can really heal so many areas of your life and improve in so many ways and feel so much more confident and come back to your heart in so many areas. And money can still be the thing. It is the last piece of the puzzle where it's like, no matter what I've done, money is still the thing holding me back. And that's because money is so deep. Just like we talked about earlier, like it is your relationship with yourself. And I think there's also a difference between being responsible with your money and being in scarcity with your money. And this is something that I see and work with my clients all the time is how do you step into the energy of abundance, feeling really safe and solid and secure with your money, feeling confident and safe within yourself no matter how much money you have, and being able to bring that energy into your life. And really, when you, instead of thinking like, oh, I don't have enough money, so I need to sacrifice or I can't do the things I want to do, instead, looking at the money that you do have and being intentional and conscious with what is most important to you, choosing with your money what is most in alignment with the life that you really want to live, and really wielding the power of your money intentionally to make that life a reality. Like your money is not only a deep healing tool, it's also one of the most powerful tools for manifestation and creating the life that you want to live.
Let's dig in about responsibility versus scarcity. What is it that you would guide someone in this transition to live responsibly with your money and not in scarcity?
I think there's a couple different pieces to this that are important. One is recognizing the energy behind the action. Often it's easy to take action from a place of fear and lack and scarcity. That's like, oh my gosh, my business isn't making money and I had this unexpected car payment come up. So now I'm going to search for online jobs and fill out a bunch of job applications and freak out and taking action from a place of panic, especially for entrepreneurs and business owners having opportunities to invest and looking at these opportunities to invest in different ways and thinking, well, what if it doesn't work? And like making those decisions from an energy of fear and lack and not enoughness. What I teach on is that the energy behind the action is what matters most, especially with money. Because if you're taking action from a place of fear and then you affirm that with your money, what you're going to create is more of that fear and lack and scarcity. Now, what I'm not saying is just ignore all the fear, ignore all the responsibility, and spend tons of money and it's all going to work out. I'm not saying that either. I think that's the other end of the spectrum where it's kind of like ignorance is bliss, overly abundant, but it's like a false sense of abundance. And there's really this balance in the middle. And it comes to recognizing the fear, recognizing the scarcity, recognizing the lack. How can you sit in that, process that, and come back to a place of safety within yourself? And then from that place of safety, that's when you decide, and that's when you take action, and that's when you make choices. But the other piece to this is not just the energetics. Now, the energetics are important, but the other piece is based on the reality of your finances. Actually looking at your money, knowing how much you have, knowing where it's going, being conscious and being aware, and using your money as a tool to say yes to what is important and say no to what is not important. I think there's a difference between making a choice purely rooted in fear, purely rooted in stress, versus processing that fear, moving through it, coming back to safety, looking at the money that you have and saying, okay, what is most in alignment with my vision? What is most in alignment with my most abundant self? What does my grounded, safe, secure self choose, decide, and believe based on this energy and also based on my actual numbers? And that's really the secret sauce for not manifesting more like stress and scarcity, but instead manifesting your vision from a grounded, safe, and abundant place starting right now.
It's interesting that so many people don't really know where that is. They've just been living a life of, okay, I'm broke, using these words, casting these spells, and that energy of where their status, where they are. I don't have enough money. And I was working with a friend recently, and he's gotten a second job. And he was like, oh, I need more money. And I'm like, well, how much do you even need? Well, I don't know. If you're living in a space of you think that you need more, or you're acting on the fear, like you said, the intention behind it is, I just believe that I need to have more because if and when I have more, then I can XYZ. So it's like getting to the point of, okay, let's actually define what these numbers are. How much is actually required for me to pay the monthly bills, and then the things that I would like to have, and come up and create a new plan based on what that is. I think so often people get in the idea of just you always need and desire more. And maybe that more number isn't as unattainable as people think. If you're talking and using the words and casting the spells of this is expensive, this is too expensive, and spend, 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 even those words carry so much energy of like this training that I'm going through with Mark. I could say, okay, I'm going to spend X amount of money. No, I am investing that money into myself. And the more that is invested into me, I'm able to give back out, to receive. Currency means flow. Currency, money is flowing. It is meant to be circular. It is meant to be in and out. And it's like when we get in this place, we feel stuck. And this constant of everything's expensive. Somebody might say a certain item or car or whatever it is expensive. Well, if you ask Jeff Bezos if whatever that is expensive, do you think he's going to think that that car is expensive? No. Well, if you're constantly feeling like something is expensive, quote unquote, then it's always going to be too expensive for you.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's just your own perspective on the money. And I love what you said earlier. Like, this is so important is the value of getting your numbers down on paper because our mind just is going to keep running with this idea of not enough or stress or I need more unless you can clearly see how much do I actually have? How much do I actually need? If I got my best life down on paper and saw how much it costs to live that life, now I have a very clear and accurate picture of what I'm working towards. And most of the time, it's not as much as you think it is. It's not like multi-millions of dollars. You're like, okay, I just want this nice home. I want to be able to eat healthy food, travel once in a while. Right. But we don't know what those
Mhm.
numbers are. We don't know how much we're currently spending, how much we're currently making, how much we need, where the money's going. And that unknown around the money is what causes a majority of the stress and the fear. Exactly. I've seen
Yeah.
time and time again clients who get their money down on paper and can see clearly exactly how much they have, where it's going. And even though their financial situation hasn't changed at all from before they wrote it down to having it written down clearly, 70% of the stress goes away because now at least you can see clearly what is happening and you can from there make a plan and make choices about what to do about it. But you can't make that plan. You can't make accurate decisions based on reality. Instead, you're just making emotional, inaccurate decisions with your money that doesn't actually resolve the problem because you don't know what the problem is. So, bringing that level of awareness into your money resolves most of the stress, the fear, and the lack, and it puts the control of your money back in your hands.
Yeah, 100%. And once you have those numbers, then you can make realistic goals. People may say, I want to make $1 million. Okay, that's fine. Have you ever made $100,000? No. Well, let's start with that. If I was making $1 million, then I would be able to do all these things. Well, if you don't have any concept of exactly where your current reality is, and what is the opportunity for you to make that money, and you have this unrealistic expectation of, oh, if I just had this, then you're constantly going to be in lack and you're constantly going to be struggling to never achieve what it is that is realistically attainable if you just set the appropriate goals.
Exactly, exactly. And putting it on paper too. What does this mean too? It's making those numbers tangible. Okay, $100,000 is equivalent to me being able to travel this many times a year,
Yeah.
me being able to put this much into retirement, me being able to do the X, Y, and Z and invest in my business in certain ways. It's like taking this abstract number and these numbers that we attach meaning to, and it's actually like giving it perspective and saying, what is this actually equal to? And what does this look like in comparison to the life I really want to live and what my best life looks like?
Yeah, because when you can get into the space where you understand that and you're able to reach those goals and know that, okay, these are the things that are a high value for me. This is a priority. Maybe that is traveling to spend time with your family or with friends, or maybe it is to buy the highest quality ingredients in your food and your health and your clothing, whatever that is, that you're able to put this into a different perspective once you have it down on paper and you have a better understanding of, here's where I am, here's where I want to be, and to create a timeline on, here's 6 months, here's 12 months, here's the next 5 years. But until you get that out on paper, what is a goal? I want to make more money. I bet you could interview 1,000 people out there and 999 would say, yeah, I want to make more money. But what is more? When you make a specific understanding, but you can't do that until you get down where you are today.
That's exactly it. It's this combination of the internal work and this tangible work that really changes your relationship with money. And when you do this, it makes living your vision, your most abundant life, possible starting right now. You don't have to do it someday when you have more money. There's a way that you can live in abundance and live your best life right now with the money that you have. But you have to do this internal healing and get really clear on your numbers so that you can wield the power of your money to make that vision a reality.
So tell us about what you're doing with your coaching program.
Yeah, so I run a online coaching program called Empowered Abundance, and I have been running this program for about 4 years now, and it has grown and shifted over time, and it essentially does everything that we've talked about today. It helps you to change your relationship with money from the inside out. I work in small groups with my clients. I love working with entrepreneurs, coaches, healers, because we're the ones bravely saying, okay, I'm not going to follow this beaten path. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to create my best life. I'm going to show up and bring my gifts and my service to the world. And often money can be the thing that holds you back from going all in on that and staying committed and to keep going with that, even when business feels challenging, even when you're not seeing the sales you want to see. And so, money and your relationship with money is really foundational to growing a successful business and being fully supported by the work that you love. And so, I work with coaches and entrepreneurs and I help them to change their internal relationship with money. We go into your stories, your beliefs, the parts of you rooted in scarcity, the shadows side of your money, and we heal all of this, bringing awareness to all of this. Then I teach them how to manage and track and be in control of their money. I teach them how to build a financial blueprint so that you're not budgeting. You're not saying, okay, this is what I have to cut out and sacrifice. A budget tells you what you can't do with the money that you have, but a blueprint tells you what you can do with the money that you have. So I give them the tools to see clearly exactly what's happening with their money and then be in control of that money so they can use that money strategically to live the life they want to live. We get crystal clear on what their vision is. What is your best, most abundant life? How do you energetically align with that vision? How do you step into the energy and the identity of abundance? And then how do you use your money tangibly and intentionally to make that vision a reality? So the whole program is a combination of tangible work and internal work, clearing out the scarcity, clearing out the old beliefs, and stepping into these new abundance-based beliefs so that you can go all in on the work that you love and make your business and your vision real right now.
Love that. That is awesome. And I see so many people that go into this type of work of healing, especially in anything kind of spirituality related. And they're like, oh, I want to help everybody. It's not about the money. And no, it's not necessarily about the money, but we do live in a society where money is the currency, the energy exchange. So I think that is absolutely critical for people to continue to help others live their dreams, grow, live their best lives. But you can't do that if you are struggling to feed yourself and your family. So that
Exactly.
is so important to make sure that we are still in the understanding of money is just as valuable as that relationship with your partner, relationship with yourself is all interconnected because that's the 3D world that we live in is related to the money that's flowing in and flowing out. We've got to keep that current stream flowing. So that is incredible. I love that. So where would people go to find out more about you and your program and want to learn more about healing their money beliefs and to grow and get control of their relationship with their money?
Yeah, absolutely. I love to have conversations about this and dive deeper into how this work can really support you in stepping into your most abundant life and make that your reality. And so, if you want to have a conversation and learn more about this work, you can check out my website, thebizhippie.com/abundance.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Scarlett, for joining us today. This has been a phenomenal conversation, and I'm sure this has resonated with many of the listeners today. So go check out Scarlett, listen, learn from her, and let's heal the relationship with money.
Before we go, let's take a deep breath and bring it back to the heart. Today, we explored how money is so much more than dollars and cents. It is a reflection of how we value ourselves, how we speak to ourselves, and how safe we feel to receive. So if anything in this conversation lit something up in you, trust that. That is your inner wisdom. And if you're feeling called to dive deeper, I've got a few one-on-one coaching spaces opening up August 1st. These sessions are designed to help you shift your language, your nervous system, and your beliefs so you can fully embody your abundance and manifest your quantum leap. You can book a free 30-minute intro call to see if it's a fit for you. Just send me an email at backtotheheart2loveme@gmail.com. Until next time, keep going, keep growing, and stay close to your heart.